Well, hello and good afternoon, and welcome to our third episode of Meet the Contestants Behind the Pitch, where we feature individuals who have won one or more pitch competitions at either the local, state, or federal level. Hi, I'm Ed Garner. I'm the regional director here at the Michigan Small Business Development Center, and I'm so happy about the show today because we have two wonderful guests. And when I say guests, I'm talking plural because both of these guests, the businesses has two or more business owners. So this will be a little interesting because oftentimes people go it alone, but in these two instances, there's two people involved with running these two businesses, which can make for an interesting dynamic and an interesting conversation. So we're happy to have these two guests we're going to bring on later for you to see and get a behind the scenes look at kind of their experiences going through pitch competitions, some of them of who they may have won and some of they may have lost. So if you're interested to tuning in to trying to get some tips and tricks, you may hear that. If you just want to hear how people are feeling, kind of what emotions going through when you're going through pitch competitions, you're at the right place. So before we get into it, though, I do want to tell you a little bit about the Small Business Development Center. So we're a statewide business service network funded in part through the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and our local hosts. So I'm located on the west side of the state. As you can see, our host here on the west side is Grand Valley State University. Our services include no-cost business consulting. It's all one-on-one. It's all confidential. Meet as often as you need to. We also provide a lot of business and education training programs. Some of things like we do today, like webinars and seminars, and in-person trainings as well. We also do a lot of secondary market research to help you identify new markets, competitors, demographic information, just whatever you need, even search engine optimization reports to help improve your website hits. Just a lot of stuff, and it's all free. It's all no cost to you here and working with the SBDC. Also, we do help with technology commercialization services as well. Now, after today's broadcast, if you do want to engage with us directly and meet with a consultant, you can do so by going to our website at michigansbdc.org. That's michigansbdc.org. Right there on the homepage, you'll see a blue button that you can request our services. And normally after you complete that, it takes about maybe 3 minutes. We'll get back with you normally within 24, 48 business hours and get you assigned to your own personal business consultant to get you going on your way to help start, improve, grow, or even exit your business. So feel free to check out that website when you get a chance if you want to engage with us after the show or know more about the Small Business Development Center. Okay, great. And then lastly, just want to point out that after the broadcast, we're going to, at the end, show you how to basically engage with us as well. So if you missed any of this information, you can watch the YouTube video again. But if you want to connect with us directly, we're going to show you that at the end of the broadcast, how to connect with us as well and how to connect with these wonderful business owners. Okay, so let's get to it. So we got our guest today. We got two wonderful companies that we're going to feature today. And I want to invite to the stage first a couple that I've known for many years that have started and now growing their business into something bigger and better. I want to bring to the stage Toney and Cynthia Hines, the owners of Paw Pickles and Things. So, Toney and Cindy, why don't you come on stage?
Hello. Hey there. How you guys doing?
Hey guys, welcome. And I hope you've been staying cool over these last couple of days. And it's been a little rainy here on the west side today, but it's still nice. It is summer. We're right now, heart of summer. I don't know if summertime is pickle season or not. So you have to
It is. It is.
Oh, okay. Well,
In Michigan, it is.
We're right in pickle season, y'all. So that's great.
Right.
So I want to first off ask Toney, where are you guys located?
So we're located, our business address is in Grand Blanc, Michigan. We produce through Flint Farmers Market, Flint Food Works, the commercial incubator kitchens, if they have, we lease that space. So company, address, Grand Blanc, we produce in Flint at the Flint Farmers Market.
Okay, great. And how long have you been in business now?
We've been in business now for about 3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay, great. And I know you were just at a business expo here on my side of the state in Muskegon, I think on Sunday and stuff. How did that go for you?
It went pretty good. Muskegon has always been a foothold for us. We did our first events there, so we're always glad to come back home to do certain events. We also were in Muskegon yesterday, excuse me, for Grand Valley State University.
Their innovation hub, they had the Trailblazer Talks with food entrepreneurs, panelists, and then a special speaker from this side of the state, Q, Cooking with Q. So she's well known. She's been on TED Talks and a lot of different things. She specializes in uh, vegan menus.
Okay,
And
great.
so we did we did food demonstrations with our product. We did sliders with our pickles, and we did brats with our cha-cha, which is one of our specialty foods.
Okay, great. We'll get in, and we're going to get in that too a little bit later too, once we get our other guests on. But right now, what I want to do though, this is about pitching and pitch competition. So, as a way of introduction, instead of just say, "Hey, tell me about your company," I'm going to give you 1 minute, 60 seconds to do kind of a 60-second, 1 minute pitch about Paw Pickles and things. Either one of you can decide who wants to go. And I'll give you a countdown, and then you give us your 1 minute pitch. This shows you got to be ready at any time.
Thanks, Ed. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Here
that
we
from
go.
you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Did you know that Michigan is the #1 pickle producing state in the U.S.? The U.S. pickle industry is a $3.1 billion industry, but Michigan is leading the way with $17 million and growing. Hi, my name is Cindy Hines. This is my husband, Tony, and we're co-owners of Pawpaw's Pickles and Things. We make premium, all natural pickles free from artificial colors and preservatives. We offer three types of deals, three types of sweet or spicy pickles. And then there's our game changer, a cha-cha slaw, which is a Southern tradition that's been handed down through the years. Uh, in 2022, and actually during the pandemic, my husband started experimenting with pickles. He went into the kitchen and he made so many pickles that when the world opened back up, I took 40 jars, put them on my insurance table. I sold no insurance that day, but the pickles were a big hit. That's when we knew we were on to something. Our business model is three different sales channels: direct to consumers at farmers markets and events. And then we sell to wholesale. We have several wholesale customers. And then we also have a robust online business where we ship all across the state. Our profit margin is 37% at this time, and we tripled our business since our sales revenue since we started in 2022. So we're asking you to join us as Papa's Pickles, become one of Paul's peoples, and buy our products and or support us. Simply share and let people know that we exist. Thank you.
That was fantastic. So I didn't time you, so I'm gonna just take it for granted that you
How'd
stayed
I
in.
do, Paul?
You,
Did I, was
you
that
stayed
low?
within your
He
60
was, he was
seconds.
over a little bit.
And that's one of the first rules of pitch. You got to stay within your time limit. They only give you a minute. You stay within the minute. They give you 5 minutes. Make sure you stay within that 5 minute limit.
Exactly.
So that was a great explanation of your company. We're gonna talk more about your company. I had the pickles, so I can tell the audience they're wonderful. So I personally purchased them and tasted them. I don't think I've had all varieties yet, but I'll get
Well, we
around.
have some new ones. We have some new ones since you tried them. So
Okay, well, great. Well, I'm going to have to get to those. So what we're going to do right now, though, we're going to take you off stage for a minute so we can get our other guests introduced, and then we're going to bring you back, and then all of us together are going to talk about these experiences you've had going through pitch competitions here. So I want to now at this time bring up our next guest. to the stage. It's going to be Austin Pariseau and Robert Walker. They're the owners of Gas Money's. Now, these two young men, I think started this after they got out of high school. And if you're a teenager, particularly a male teenager, you always try to get money. If you got a car, always trying to get gas money and do little jobs and things like that to get it. And so they came up with a wonderful concept called Gas Money. We're going to hear more about that. But welcome to the stage, guys.
Thank you, Ed. Great to be on today.
Great. So Austin, let me start with you. So where are you guys located at?
So the business is out of Lapeer, Michigan, but we offer services in Lapeer County, Genesee County, and other surrounding counties. Okay,
great. Okay, so it's still growing at this time, and that's wonderful. Once again, you're in Lapeer County. So those looking for them, you can go to their website right there. It's shown. You can find out more about them as well. And then, Robert, how long you guys been at this? When did you start, and how long you been at it?
Yes, we actually started Gas Money back in high school. I think it was around 2018, started mowing lawns, and like you said, working to earn gas money. And then we officially registered as an LLC in 2020 and have been growing ever since.
That's fantastic. And so I would say, I'm so proud of you two guys are, right out of school, young generation. A lot of people don't think about starting businesses, yet you did it directly to earn money, but you also created a platform for others to be able to earn money too when you're from 16, I believe, to 24. So that is wonderful. We're going to get into that a little bit more as well. But once again, it's a pitch competition. So by way of introducing your company, I want one of you guys to basically take 60 seconds, 1 minute, up to 1 minute to give me a pitch about your company. So either one, I think. Robert, are you going to take it? Okay, great. Okay,
I'll take it.
Okay, here goes countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So as Ed mentioned, Austin and I started Gas Money back in high school, and it was a product of us being busy with school and sports, but also not really having a way to make money on our own time. We looked at part-time jobs. It was tough to make the time for it. We were like, hey, we're going to go get some lawnmowers and start making money mowing lawns. So as we continued doing this, we faced a lot of rejection with door knocking, trying to get people to hire us. But eventually, as people started hiring us, they realized there was a lot of value in supporting the younger generation. We began hiring some of our friends to work with us and giving them the same opportunities and freedoms that we had in being our own bosses. And eventually, throughout this period in high school, what this resulted in is us discovering the need to provide more opportunities for hardworking students just like us. Today, Gas Money is a mobile app and website that homeowners can go on to and hire local students that are trusted for over 30 different services around their homes and yards. Essentially, our business model is that for each service that's completed, whether it's landscaping, yard work, help around the home, moving, Gas Money takes a commission of that service that is done, and then we provide, in turn, insurance and marketing for our contractors. Overall, the main goal behind Gas Money is giving homeowners affordable help around their home and yard while also supporting local students, and more importantly, providing local students with job opportunities that they might not otherwise have due to their busy schedules. Again, Ed and the SBDC, thank you so much for having us on. It's great to be on today with Pawpaw's Pickles, and we look forward to continuing the conversation.
Okay, that was great. Get people understand a little bit more of how this thing started, kind of where you're at, and a little bit about your platform, how you're making money. These are all questions judges want to know. Because business is one thing, but making money is another thing. So most judges want to know, what's the business model and how you're going to make money from it. So fantastic. So at this time now, we want to bring back on Toney and Cindy as well. And then all of us together, we're going to, start in on the conversations about pitch competitions you've been a part of and kind of what it took to get there, how you're feeling and so forth. And so we're going to kind of dive right into it. So before we do that, Toney, I do want to ask you, Toney, Cindy mentioned that you're the one who started making the pickle. So is this like a family recipe or where you come with it?
The bread and butter is a family recipe. That was my grandmother's recipe, and it's over 90 years old. I added two spices to it, and it really took off. People that have had bread and butter in the past taste it and say, "Oh, it's just like my grandmother used to make it." Yeah, I know. That's your grandmother's recipe as well as probably mine. The other pickles, I went through over 100 runs of Pickles as far as to dial in the taste for them. And through all the pickles that I ran, I threw a lot away, because they weren't to up to the standard that I wanted. And so we finally dialed in all of our flavors. Cindy does the spices, but all the base flavors are mine.
Okay, great. So family recipes plus some new recipes added on to it as well. So that's fantastic. So Cindy, so tell me, we listed like 3 competitions that you had placed in, either won or placed in, but actually, how many pitch competitions have you participated in today?
I thought about that afterwards. So the 3 that we listed, all 3 of those happened this year. That was 2025.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, my very first pitch competition was the one that you were the judge. So we placed second in that one. We got $500. Then I had another one that same year, Sisters in Business in Kalamazoo, and that was $2,500. And then Michigan Women Forward in 23, and I did not place. We got selected out of a lot of applicants to be in the top 5 to pitch. So you got to apply to be selected to do the live pitch. I did not place, and I was very disappointed that we didn't place because of our early success. But I learned something very important, and then I pitched in that again, and this is one of the ones that is listed on your list for today.
Oh,
So I
okay.
pitched them again this year.
Okay, great. So that's so you're up to about 7 or 8 competitions that you've been in thus far, right?
Yep, it's 6.
6.
Three up prior, and then 3 this year. So 6.
Okay, great. So Austin, what about you guys? How many competitions have you participated in so far?
So yeah, there's the 3 listed on there, and then there were 2 other ones off the top of my head, which was Flint Soup and the Doxa Development. They're both basically they get people together and have a little dinner, have some business owners speak, and both of those were timed. And yeah, so those other ones we weren't able to take home the first place or anything, but those 3 we either placed in or won that were listed.
Okay, great. So now you two being young men, I just wanted to ask you when you got in that first, was the first pitch Flint Suit? What was the first one?
It was pitch for K.
Pitch for K.
Pitch for K. Yeah.
Okay, great. Did you win that one? Did you win in that one?
We got second place, but I think it was the first 3 places were awarded prize money.
Okay, great. So I want to ask you though, what made, I know the motivation was money, but actually what made you think you could win a pitch competition? Did somebody encourage you? Did you just, have the confidence on your own and say, hey, if they do it, I can do it? Why did you think you can get in one and win?
I think a large part of it was our mentors, really just the inspiration to go out and spread the ideas around our business, our passion behind it, and what better place to do it than a pitch competition where you have a live audience watching you, giving you feedback afterwards. And most importantly, what we found was the potential for new connections and new opportunities with other people in the business sphere. So really going into it, like you said, it was our first time doing it. We really didn't know what to expect, but we knew that whether it was money or connections or advice, we were going to get some sort of benefit from it.
Okay, so it wasn't all about money. It may have been that you're looking for advice, looking for guidance, ways to grow your business as well. So interesting. So Cindy and Tony, what about you? What made you think you could get in a competition and win?
So, so the very first one, and Ed, you probably don't even remember this, but we were walking around at the Black Expo the very first year, and you say, they're giving away $1,000 if you just put in your ID or something, and I didn't do it. And he was like, it's $1,000. And I'm like, yeah, well, I just kind of poo-pooed that idea. But at the very last minute, when the Muskegon Black Wall Street had the deadline, I was like, well, I do a lot of little videos and reels, and that's what they asked for. So I was like, I could put together a little 60-second something. And so I just did it like really hours before the deadline, just as like, oh, what the heck. And we were selected to pitch. And so really what happens is if you have a little bit of success, then each time it builds your confidence like, okay, okay, I think we can do this. And then other people tell you, oh, there's a pitch coming up here or a pitch coming up there. So it's a little addictive. Once
Okay.
you start going,
Got pitch fever.
you're just
Got
going.
pitch fever going on. You got pitch fever.
I think I kind of do.
Another thing, another thing too, Ed, is we had sampled some products of other people that do craft pickles, and we knew we had the product too. I mean, the pitch and the product should go together, and I think the better your product, the better your pitch will be. And Cindy likes to talk, but I like to do more research. So we've got a product that a lot of people really like. So
And I will say this, Ed, you were talking about motivation. While initially my motivation, of course, you want to win. I want the money. I didn't want to pitch in front of other people and things like that. What I have since learned is that each one of these groups offers resources. They offer resources and the connections that you make, even if you don't win, the resources that you gain and the connections that you make benefits you. And as my pitch coach would say, every time you get up there, this is just another group of people that I get to talk about our business in front of, whether you win or not. So I've learned the value beyond the money. The money's great, but there's other value that you're gaining for your business.
Okay, you just mentioned something here. You said pitch coach. So you actually had somebody working with you to coach you guys along, and Robert and Austin too. I want to see if she had pitch coaches too as well. But Cindy, you had a pitch coach?
Yeah, so she probably should be on your show because she's phenomenal.
she is.
Sticky Spoons. IA from Sticky Spoons has won so much money. She's brutal. She's a brutal coach,
She is.
but I can't deny her results. So I just, take a nap, get prayed up, and then I go, and she'll be brutally honest with you. And she's had so much success, and I've learned, and she is in a similar business line. That's the other thing that I like about her. So if you have someone who does work that's similar to her, she understands. She's in consumer packaged products. We're in consumer packaged products. So there's so many similarities. Even though we have a different product, our processes and all the same problems and issues are the same. So she's been, I can't even tell you, a priceless resource for us.
She's basically the Newt Rockney of pitch coaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's saying something. So yeah, maybe we'll have you on the show for later on. But the reason I asked you that because I think that's a real insider tip there. If you're looking out there and watching this show, if you gotten in a pitch competition or thinking about one, think about getting a pitch coach. It could be a past pitch winner, like they've done. It could be someone from the Small Business Development Center or something of that nature. But it's always good to have an outside sounding board, to kind of see things that you may not see when you're pitching. So Austin, did you guys have a pitch coach too?
So a lot of it in the past, honestly, was talking to people, our mentors and different people in business, because, obviously we started the company when we were 19, 20 years old. So we're just trying to learn, what with our business model, how do you present this? How do you build a pitch deck? What do you need to include? How do you make it look? And as Sydney mentioned, talking to somebody that's in a similar industry can be huge, because they understand, your issues that you might have, or also understand what you might need to talk about to, judges, and what they want to hear, what they don't want to hear, what to make sure that so you're ready for different questions during the Q&A. So really a lot of it was talking to different mentors that are in a similar service industry to us, or even the gig space, different companies that provide, gig apps or gig services. So really trying to learn as much as possible, presenting your pitch deck to them, have them critique it. It's all about getting the feedback and a lot of things are going to be what you don't want to hear, but that's the best collective criticism you can call it. It's not negative, it's collective, and taking that back and really trying to polish up everything as much as possible from the feedback.
Okay, that's great. So you just mentioned one thing that I was thinking about. We were talking about coaches, but it slipped my mind. So I'm gonna come back to it. But before I do that, so I wanted to ask Robert in terms of that first pitch and things that you did, and even the subsequent ones. Cindy says sometimes it gets easier as it goes along, but were you intimidated at all by any of the other contestants in there? Sometimes you look around the room and like, wow, they really got it together. And I don't know about this, So was there any reservation or intimidation, going on at all in any of the competitions?
100% for all of them, honestly. The first one in particular, I can remember it was a large venue, relatively large. I think there was around 80 to 100 people in attendance. So that was the first one we did. We walked in, there was a stage, and the other contestants, they all had their pitches and everything ready. We're kind of practicing with each other, and we're like, okay, this is our first time doing this. Didn't know what to expect, but we just went in with the idea, hey, this is going to be a learning experience. We've practiced, we've rehearsed with each other, and kind of the confidence in the back of our head that we had that practice to rely on, I think that helped carry us through it, where we weren't going in blind. We had rehearsed it, we practiced it, and that helped quite a bit with the intimidation factor.
Okay, great. So practice makes perfect, I guess. Maybe that's a whole saying, but it helps overcome some of that fear that others are better than you. The more you practice, I think, on what you're hearing. So Cindy and Toney, what about you? Was there any intimidation factor going on behind the scenes? Did anybody challenge you? Along the way, someone say, "Hey, look, this is mine. Y'all might as well step back. This is my award." You didn't win first place in every one. I noticed.
No. I only took first place in one out of the 6 once.
Okay.
And I was like in shock. People were like, you got it. I'm like, no, I don't know I got it. I was like, I've done this before. You never know. I would say you got to get out of your own head. Just get out of your own head, because either you're going to be overconfident, like, yeah, we got this. Those people are slouches, we got this. Or you'll be intimidated, like, whoa, they made, if they throw their numbers up there and they made, 500,000 and you still struggling to make 50,000. I mean, that's intimidating. I can remember going up against Sticky Spoons and I'm just like, oh my God. I'm just sitting there. She throws up her numbers and I took second place to her. And that's when I first met her. And now she's my coach. And I'm like, this woman, this is a whole nother level. So there's always going to be the intimidation factor, period. I don't care where you go. And you never know, even though you try to project in your mind who you think won and who did best, if they let you watch. Some people don't let you watch. You don't know. You can't read the judges' minds, because judges have different motivations and they look at different things and they all got a different perspective. So I say, what I've learned to do is just do your best, because if I don't do my best, now I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself because I could have won if I had to did my best. But if I try to wing it or I didn't prepare, now I'm mad at myself. So just prepare the best you can and let the chips fall where they may. That's all you can do.
No, I think that's great. I think that's great advice. I think you said it best. Like, don't let other people get in your head. Don't
let you get in your head. You'll get in your own head.
Yeah, that's true too.
Get out of your own head.
Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, just like we say sometimes. You may thought you did a crappy job. Others thought you did a fantastic job. So you just, like to say, you really just don't know how that may go. So both of you guys have mentioned something I want to get into now, and this is the question I remember about. Also, I was thinking about. Let's talk about judges. So both of you guys have said, well, judges look for different things, or we may try to anticipate questions judges may ask with my mentors. So let me ask you, what type of questions do judges normally ask you guys about your pitches? So anybody, just go first.
Yeah.
Your turn.
So go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead,
it's
Austin.
your turn.
Go ahead,
Oh, okay.
Austin.
Yeah, I guess one that just comes to mind real quick is trying to figure out the best way to concisely explain on how you would use the money if you won. So that's, there's different ways to look at that. But obviously that's something that can be mentioned and also asked by some of the judges that we've seen before. And knowing your numbers, a lot of Q&A, it comes down to, how much money have you made, how much revenue, and then what are some projections that you may have for the future? How will this money help you then, reach some of those projections? Where will you be allocating the money? So there's a lot of different things with the numbers for sure. And that's what comes to my head.
Would you say that's the most important factor in pitching, knowing your numbers? Is that?
As in questions from the judges, I think Rob, you could probably bring up another couple that we've been asked. But I think
I would say
that's a huge portion of it, because that shows how confident you are in what your business has done and what it can do for the future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the largest thing to prove with the judges is how well put together is this business and what is their plan moving forward? How confident are they in themselves that they can do this? Because if you can't get buy-in from yourself, then the judges aren't going to believe in you. So like Austin mentioned, the numbers, knowing those off the top of your head are good, but also anticipating questions that, might not typically be asked. For example, in a couple of our pitch competitions, they'd ask about safety of students. They would ask about quality control and all of these things we had thought of, obviously, but when we went into the pitch, we didn't think to, talk about that in our pitch. It had been something that hadn't been asked before. So when we were asked those questions, it didn't necessarily catch us off guard, but it was like, oh, that's something I'm going to include in a future pitch to address their questions before they get asked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So Toney, Cindy, what type of questions the judges have asked you in the competition?
So this is always one of the tough things, is trying to anticipate questions that the judges might ask. This is the tough part. If you do a well put together pitch, then you will have answered all of the basic questions that everyone expects you to answer. You're going to answer those in your pitch. But then often their questions are going to be a follow-up to something you said, or something you should have addressed, a basic that you should have addressed and you didn't address it. So they'll give you like a second bite of the apple. You weren't clear on your numbers. So now they're going to come back and ask for clarification on your numbers. Okay. So, or I said, we're in stores. One judge was curious, which stores? Is it a Walmart, or is it a corner store, or is it a specialty store? Because that adds more information about what kind of store. Another one, where they were focused on sustainability, we talked about how our scraps go to a food waste company that goes to a worm farm, and we showed the full circle of environmental friendly, how we support the environment and sustainability. This judge got off kind of in the weeds about food waste, because that was her jam. Her jam was about how much food waste is being created, and trying to see, basically test me on how much we know in this. So you got to be a little bit careful about what you say, because you got to, okay, I said X, now they want to know Y and Z. So you better be able to answer the next level questions behind what you just prepared. And I wasn't quite sure where she went, and I had to tap dance a little bit there. But we took second place. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it definitely threw me off. And it just happened to be she was from the Michigan Department of Agriculture. So she's interested in food waste. It's her jam. And I'm like, oh, okay, well. So you never exactly know, but you do want to just try to anticipate.
Great. So Toney, I want to ask you this question. So in both situations here, we got two partners. You know, got a husband and wife team, two friends teams and stuff. So how do you go about making the decision on who's going to do what? Like who's going to pitch or who's going to do the research and stuff? Some people may be in that situation now. They really trying to think of the best way to do it, but not, you know, pissing off their partner or getting, you know, confusion or disagreements with that. How does that work for you guys?
I don't really care if she gets upset. It doesn't make any difference to me.
So here, honey, have a pickle.
That's right. So I catered before I went to this business, and I catered for years, big events, 300, 400 people, and always had a palate, you know. So, you know, she loves to talk. So, you know, I let her stay in her wheelhouse, you know, but when it comes to research, she'll try to step over into my wheelhouse, and I have to tell her, no, stay in yours, you know. So the research and the recipes, they stay with me. And like I said, she does these two spicy recipes, and she tells everybody that when they taste, oh, did that taste good? Yeah, that's my recipe. So, you know, she wants to poke her chest out about those two recipes.
Okay. So
always go ahead.
So when it comes to pitching, Cindy is the front woman. She normally does.
Yeah, she can go ahead and pitch. Although I can if I want to, but you know, she if that's what she wants to do, that's fine. Did you hear that? I said if that's what you want to do. Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Okay.
So our dynamic is a little bit different because we're married, and so it's different than if you're friends. But we do this in life. This is our life. We partner in many things, and so we've had to learn how to do this dance where, okay, you're over here and you're over here, but then there's times when we need to come together and work together. So it's a dance that you learn to do with each other, and we've had to do that many times. Now there was a point production got to be so heavy. I learned how to produce. So now I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing both. So it really, but I guess the bottom line is play to your strengths.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. Who has the best? Whoever has the best skill set seems like is the person who's chosen to do it. So if you're out there listening, you know, and trying to work with partnerships, you know, determine who's got the best skill set for that, or who's going to learn that. And I'm hearing Toney kind of say, you know, be respectful of everybody, just kind of stay in your lane. Some everything you're probably not going to agree on, you know, it's just the way of life, you know. So manage and work it out and put on a great united front. So that's a good way to think about it who's going to do your pitch. Most pitches I've seen it's difficult for two people to pitch like in a 3-minute pitch or 5-minute pitch, and in a 1-minute pitch, you're definitely not going to be able to have two people do it. It's not enough time to go back and forth like that. So. But let me ask you. So, Robert, I'm gonna ask you this. So, you didn't win every pitch competition either. So, was there one that you thought you should have won that somebody else won, and you said, "Man, I thought I had that. How did they win? You know, was there one like that? And how did you feel about it? That's what.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Yeah, so there was one. It was the most recent pitch competition we did, and we got second place overall. It was the Innovation Challenge at Florida State, and like you said, we felt bad afterwards. But what we did is we took that motivation to go, hey, let's go prove why we should have won this. To go back a little bit, the reason we were so confident in that one and why kind of when it finished, we were like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag, is just from all the practice we had done. So throughout college, once I got into college, I actually took a few entrepreneurship classes where they would have us go through business pitches. And that's really what taught me, you know, what goes into a good slide deck. You know, how should your cadence and inflection be when you're speaking? What should your delivery look like? And practiced a lot on that one. So with all that practice and to the point where we were going off a script without reading it, when we got to the pitch competition and delivered it flawlessly, in our opinion, then afterwards we're like, oh man, we have this in the bag and didn't. So a lot of emotions involved, but I guess for the shorter answer, it's just use that as motivation to do even better on the next time and get all the feedback you can as to where to improve.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is dust yourself off, get back up, get back on the horse. What's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. No mistakes, only lessons.
Don't get I've judged in pitch competitions, and I help people prep for pitch competitions and things before, and I've been in attendance, and sometimes the people I thought would win didn't win either. I'm like, wow, so it's funny like that. Sometimes it rolls for you, sometimes it rolls against you. Kind of depend on sometimes what the judges are looking for and what they honing in a little bit more on. So if you're listening out there, don't be discouraged if you don't win. Try to figure out what you can do to improve on that, because a lot of times the judges, you may not get feedback from the judges. You may get questions from the judges in terms of determining how to score you, but a lot of times there's not enough time for them to get feedback to everybody. So take that and kind of learn from it as you go. So in that in mind,
can I add something?
Pardon?
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this one, the Michigan Women Forward, and there are probably some other ones out there. The business plan weighs heavily into the winner. So what you see on that night, the live pitch, is only a small percentage. As a matter of fact, the business plan, I believe, might have weighed a heavier percentage than the live pitch. And I didn't place in that one. And I was so disappointed because I worked so hard on the pitch, but I didn't work hard enough on the business plan. So all of them are not strictly on the pitch. It's some things that happen before you even get to the pitch that determines the winner. Right. And so I had to get better on the business plan.
So I guess what I get from that, Cindy, is that you really have to understand the criteria that they're looking for, or some people call it a matrix, a rubric, whatever. How are they going to score? You need to be well aware how that's going to play out. Sometimes points are distributed equally. I think with the Michigan Women Up in Pitch competition, actually, I think 60% of your score is based on that play, and only 40% is based on your pitch. So make sure you understand the rules of the game. When you're going into these pitch competitions, is what I'm hearing from that. So
I did it twice.
You did it twice? Yep. So tell me this, Toney and Cindy, give me one thing that you now do differently than you did from your first pitch. So think about your first pitch and then think about your last pitch and tell me one thing that you learned that you do differently from what you did that first business pitch.
My ask wasn't strong, and my ask was not well defined. Great. And you got to close the deal. If you don't close the deal on the back end, forget about it.
Okay. So you got to ask for what you want, is what I'm hearing?
No, but you have to do a good job of explaining the ask and how is that ask, because the judges want to know, why should I invest in you?
And how is it going to help the business?
Right. And if I give you this money, how is this going to help you make more money?
Right. Okay. The impact.
And I wasn't in that this is the one you were the judge in, and people say you did really well, but your ask wasn't clear. So that's a huge lesson between then and now. Huge.
Okay, great. Making sure that's clear. So Austin, what about you guys? And Robert, give me one thing that you done differently from the very first pitch you did to the last pitch you did. What's one thing you learned and do differently
now? Well, there was definitely a lot. So in the ones that I did, for sure, being much more intentional with everything I say. So I'm one to kind of go all over the place, and that's not good for timed pitches, obviously. And so really trying to figure out how to be as concise, but they're having a lot of substance to that conciseness and being able to get the point across as clear as possible in the quickest amount of time. So really focusing on that. And so that just comes down to making sure when you're practicing, if you're more like me and you aren't good at memorizing a script word for word, then make sure you're at least practicing specific talking points that you will hit every time in order to then make that time and that you're timing yourself every time when you're practicing.
Okay, great. That's great advice there. So I I got to ask you guys, this isn't SBDC broadcasted show, so I have to ask you both, or all four of you guys, what assistance, if any, that the SBDC help you with, preparing for your pitch or practice or whatever? What did we help you any at all in any of these endeavors, or not? So, Robert, why don't you go first? Did the SBDC work with you guys to help out any, and what did we do?
Yeah, so all the ones we did were actually before our time reaching out to the SBDC, which is a result of us, not reaching out, not having the awareness of your services. With those, we worked with a lot of local groups such as Flint Soup. Adrian and James are both very helpful resources there for us. But now that we've been working with the SBDC for the next pitch competition, there's two areas you guys have really been helping out with. The one is our business plan. We've made a few drafts of the business plan throughout time, but working with the SBDC now, we've gotten a lot of clarity on exactly, what to include in the business plan, and specifically what areas to focus on for people that are going to read it and want to invest. And then the second side is setting milestones. Any pitch competition is going to ask, how are you going to use this money? Where are you going to be investing? What milestones do you need to hit? I think on previous competitions we've done, since we didn't have that advice from the SBDC, we kind of missed on that portion. We're working with you guys to help financial planning, marketing planning, and actually have a better plan of where we're going to use that money and funds. So overall, I would say we're excited for the next one now that we have the backing and support of you guys.
Got it. Okay, Toney, Cindy, what assistance the SBDC played in your business?
Same thing, business plan. Same thing as business plan. So I think it made a world of difference for us is that, I was still stewing about the Michigan Women Forward because I feel like we should have won something. Because all the people in the room swore we had the best fly pitch. So I just got an attitude about it for like a whole year and couldn't wait to get to, I'm coming back, So I got a whole attitude about this thing. But now that I know it's the business plan, I'm like, and my business plan is going to be tight. So I got help. I was at an event and Harry, shout out to my guy, Harry Becker. He he was on a panel. He said, we have a template. And I'm like, that's what I need. We started last year in October of 24. And when I wasn't under any pressure, we had the time to just go back and forth and work on it in different sections and get every section. So in the beginning of January 2025, I was ready to hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. Any question you want to ask about the business is well thought out. We know where we're going. We know what our goals are. We know what our numbers are. I could just pull it from the business plan. And I think that made a huge difference and has been a really big part of our success this year, because I don't have to think about it in real time. It's there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's already there. It's just, plug and play. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Got it.
Okay. So I think that's great advice from both of you guys. And what I'm hearing is really, regardless if you're going for a pitch competition or not, having that business plan is just some of the basics of something that you need to do. And the plan is for not just for you guys, is individually, is to go for future funding, and it really helps you hone and think about certain aspects of your business. So I would say the suggestion of the advice would be, whether you think you're going to pitch or not, just do the plan, and you can turn the plan into a pitch, but you can't turn the pitch.
And the plan also goes into grant writing, because we've gotten grants. We've got grants. It goes into grant. It's the very foundational. Now it seems very like, duh, you need a business plan. Everybody thinks you need, but what does a good business plan look like?
Yeah.
What are all the key components? What does it look like? And how do you know that your business plan is good enough? Because I had a business plan the first time, but it was a lot of fluff. And I'm like, hey, I'm college educated. I know how to write. But that's not what it was. There's certain things and certain languages and certain ways you frame information so that the information tells a story. So it's not just your ability to write or your ability to calculate numbers. It's more than that.
Right. Got it.
So you got to get with some professionals that know.
Okay, great. Well, shameless plug. want to get with the SBDC, once again, go to the website, michigansbdc.org, michigansbdc.org. Go ahead and schedule yourself to get on one to start with your one-on-one business consultant, and just chip away at the plan. If you just get started, different sections of it. We got templates and everything we can show you and walk it through. We even got a kind of a online one called Live Plan. We can help get you connected with and stuff and things as well. So just take your time, do it right. Like I said, there's plans and then there's good plans. This is like you said. And so you want to have the best plan out there, and that'll springboard you to a lot of things that you can apply for. And we really think it's important when you're in a partnership again with more than one person, the plan just helps you keep you on the same page of where we want to go with this business. So I got time for about maybe one or two more questions. I want to ask you about how much time do you practice for a pitch? And because I've heard practicing come up several times about, we just practice. What do you mean by how much time, how many hours do you put into, practicing or prepping for a pitch? So let's start with Toney and Cindy. How much?
I can't even put a number on it. I would say the biggest amount of time for me, while the practicing is important, the biggest amount of time for me is getting the script. What do I want to say? How do I want to say it? Is it a 3-minute pitch? Is it a 5-minute pitch? Is it a 90-second pitch? There's different amounts. So I may have I got a 5-minute pitch that won me first place at Start Garden. But that is not good enough if I'm going someplace, if it's a 3-minute pitch or a 90. So how do I condense that or expand it and customize it? This one's 5,000. This one's 10,000. This one's 2,500. So crafting the pitch is what takes me the amount of time. And then once I've got the script, now it's just a matter of just going it over and over and over again. Some people do it verbatim. My memory is just not what it used to be, and I don't do verbatim anymore. But if I read it enough times, I just inherently know it. And another gal told me that she records herself, because I'm in the car a lot. She records herself doing a pitch, and then she just listening to it when she's in the car. And so that works good for me. Now I'm absorbing it. I'm just driving. It's just like learning the words to a song. I know it. That really helped me. And she won first place in a different region for Michigan Women Forward. And I say, I like that. So that was a good tip for me.
So the question comes up, Cindy, note cards or no note cards? What's you?
It depends on the pitch. Start Garden was pretty laid back, and they let you use note cards. I don't use note cards. I use my slides. Maybe like 5 slides, and I know what I'm supposed to say on slide 1. I know my slides are my cues. Okay, now you need to talk about this. Okay, now you need to talk about that. Certain sections. So I don't use note cards. It's just one more thing for me. Imagine note cards and a mic and a clicker. That's just too much.
That's hard to maneuver and try to maneuver all that. But some people, that's the only way they can do it. So if that's the only way you can do it, like Cindy said earlier, do the best you can. It's the only way you can do it. Just try to have some note cards up there. Just realize you may have to manage it all. You got a mic, you got a note card, you got a clicker to move your things, and you may get. If you don't got a podium or something, it may get difficult to manage all that. But if that's the only way you can do it, because we've had some people so afraid to get up there and speak that the only way they can get through was no cards. That just do what you need to do. But that's preferably. Cindy saying she prefers to go without notes. What about you, Robert Austin? Note cards or no cards? Cards or no?
I'd agree with Cindy here. We typically haven't used note cards, or we haven't used note cards in any of the pitches we've done. There's really 2 reasons for it. I think the first is if you go up there, everybody else is using note cards and you don't use them, that's one way to stand out, right? And if you're having trouble without the note cards, like Cindy said, a lot of reciting, a lot of listening to yourself. I did the same thing for my pitch competitions, and Austin for his is record yourself and then listen to it. Even if you're not speaking, once you've got that script down and you're hearing it, you can begin remembering exactly what you're going to say. And I think a large part, if you're not using note cards, is cues. So again, like Sydney said, which part of the slide are you looking at, or what are you going to say during that? And that comes back down to practice. Every single time you practice, when you say that sentence you're going to say, or when you make that pitch, think about in your head and associate with exactly where on the slide you're going to say what.
That sounds great. So we're about out of time. This time always goes by so fast. I wish I had another hour to spend with you guys. But I want to open up and give you guys an opportunity to give our audience members give them one tip you would offer them for those that are thinking about entering pitch competitions or have been in pitch competitions and trying to improve themselves. What's one tip that you would give them? So Austin, you go first. What's one tip? About 20 seconds.
So I would say if there's slides included in the pitch, make sure they're not too busy. I mean, if you can just do visuals, then that would be ideal. And just so if you can get the cues by just the visuals, then they have more time just to look at you and have you explain that confidently, and you explain your business confidently to them instead of just a book up there on the slides.
That's just great. Okay, Toney, Cindy, what you got? Give me one tip. If you had to give one tip for people looking to get in the competition or trying to improve themselves.
Just do it. Just get in the competition. Don't take yourself too seriously, and don't get hung up on the money's good, but the resources. What can I learn? How can I get better? You get better with each reiteration. So the more you do it, the better you'll get. And you'll meet some cool people along the way. Like I said, that woman beat me, she's now my coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there's really advantages to it.
I think another thing is have faith in the information that you have in front of you. If you've researched it, if you've found out what they want, what they need in your pitch, if it's numbers, if it's background, whatever it is, have faith in that information and present it boldly. Don't go up, with a questioning attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Present I tell her all the time, the information is good enough for you to win. Present it, like you already won this thing.
Great. So have some confidence. Great advice. So that's about our time today. We want to thank all you guys for coming on board. Toney and Cindy, always good to see you guys. I look forward to trying the next iterations of the Pickles. And Austin and Robert, I wish you guys much success in the growth of your business. You're the future. You're two young entrepreneurs. You'll be around for long times. I'm sure it's not your last business idea. So I want to thank you guys for being on the show as well and being able to open up and honestly talk about some of these things and what you're going through. It'll be much value to our listeners here going forward. So thank you once again for joining the broadcast. Okay. Great. Now, as we conclude, we just want to go through a couple of quick items here. So we just want to tell you about some of the resources with the SBDC. We told you how to sign up, but you can see this on YouTube. Sign up for our mailing list too, as well, so you can get information about things of this nature and other stuff about the SBDC. And then I think our next episode, Meet the Contestants, is going to be August. So we're skipping July, just kind of like every other month. So August 20th. And then we'll skip and go to October. I think it'll be the last show. And so feel free to join into those episodes going forward. And also, if you think you want to be featured, if you're a pitch competition winner out there, hit us up via this next slide through our emails, and we'll maybe consider you being on the show as well to share with our audience about what your experiences was going through pitch competitions. So with that, we want to go ahead and conclude for today. And thank you for joining on this third episode of Meet the Contestants Behind the Pitch, where we try to pull back the curtain and show you a little bit what's going on in people's minds and how they won pitch competitions going in the future. We thank you for joining and have a great rest of the afternoon.